Welcome to the countdown. While you wait for the show to begin, try to relax, grab a drink, sit down, and just enjoy the music.
Yeah. Ooh, whoa.
Don't Christina it out.
Okay. If you dream of exploiting everything and believe nature's not worth anything, if you sign the lease, all your wildest dreams, they will come true. They will come true.
She looks metallic.
Though I can't quite recall overnight sensation.
Welcome everybody to The Chop. This week, RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13, Episode 4. First of all, welcome to everybody in the chat. As usual, Fantasia, Velho, Derek, City, Mrs. G, Sasha, Beatrice, Blake Robinson, Seneca, Robin, Eddie, Diogo, and many others. I cannot possibly say hello to everyone without spending like 5 minutes doing so. I'm so happy to see that you're all here for this kind of fucked up show. Let's be honest, it's a little bit kind of fucked up, but that's also how we like it. So, what do we have this week? This week we have some failed storylines. We have the danger of substance abuse, the most edited challenge in history, and some curious decision about the top and bottom queens. We're going to take a closer look at exactly what was going on in there. Of course, the confessional chart, the speculations, and the new section, the fucked up confessionals, of course, because we've been tracking them. So now we are finally getting some results, so we can track back who said what, when, and for what purpose. Isn't that fantastic? My God, I have too much free time on my hands. That's like too much free time. Okay, first of all, shout out to Derek L. for sending me that interview. I am going to put it in every video forever, because we've been saying this kind of things for ages. But you know, when it comes out of the mouth of someone who actually worked on RuPaul's Drag Race, it's a totally different story, because it has credibility to it. You know, I'm a nobody. I'm here talking. Yes, I make sense. I show you things and so on. But hearing these things coming from an editor, it's like an end game. It's a complete end game. You know, if before people thought this were the rambles of a fanatic, now they will start thinking, oh, wait a moment, there is something here. There's something interesting here. So let's move on to this episode with our dear editor. First of all, if you watched the interview, if you didn't watch this interview, there is a link in the previous episode of The Chop. Go watch it. I guarantee you is some of the 40 minutes best spent in your life. It is so interesting. It's so transparent in a way. She's really honest about it. And also she looks very professional, like very knowledgeable about the kind of work that she does. But for our purpose tonight, I want to talk about one specific thing that she talked about. And that is that she basically portrays the queens while they are participating in the show as basically an infinite source of base material. Think about it as playing Minecraft, okay? It is not people. It is scenes. It is audios, it is screenshots, it's basic blocks. And then they use this block to build a character. Now, how fair it is to build a character, that would be a nice question. But the problem is you have to basically describe a month of lifetime in 10 hours. So, of course, you are going to reduce everything and decide what you can tell, what you cannot tell. But you know, the basic idea is that you create a progression, a consistent progression that shows you the story of these 13 queens who are participating in the show. There is really nothing wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with it. The only thing that I see that I don't like about it, and I tell you 1,000 times and I will continue to tell you, is when you don't come forward and make it very clear. This is a dramatized show. This is not an accurate depiction of reality. This is for entertainment. Don't take what you see and use that to form an opinion about these people and then maybe go on Twitter and get crazy about that. Don't do that, you know. It's for entertainment. That's my only problem with it, because I really have no problem with the characterization and so on, because it's also a practical problem. You cannot show the complexity of people during 3 days of filming in 1 hour of footage. It simply cannot be done. But the important thing is that she puts the accent on the storytelling, on building a storytelling that it's consistent, that tells a story so that people can get emotionally invested. Why is this so important for this episode? Well, because there is something strange about the edit that Elliot, Candy, and Tina received so far. Now, let's start from the beginning. Let's refresh our memory a little bit, if you will. Do you remember episode 2? I know, it was 2 weeks ago. In television time, it's like 20 years ago. But do you remember the mole storyline? You know, that kind of thing that came out of nowhere? Absolutely out of nowhere, and we got bombarded with confessionals with Tina and Candy being nasty to Elliot, and basically Elliot portrayed as a victim, you know, the poor queen who got eliminated without even having the possibility of showing who she was, and then she comes into this new group and these two people are bullying her. That was episode 2. Then we jump in to to episode 1 and episode 3 with Tamisha. Now, what's the point with Tamisha? Well, I have no problem with the characterization of Tamisha. She is lovable. In a word, she is lovable. And it comes through. They let her tell her story. We have episode 1. She shares the fact that she was cast for episode 12. She had cancer. And then we have episode 3. She talks about her biological family, her drag family. She talks about Tandy. She talks about her legacy. She shines through these 2 episodes. So what happens after you watched episode 1 and episode 3 and I tell you, who is Tamisha? And you immediately think, oh my God, she is a legend. She is a positive character in the storytelling of the show. So what happens when you take someone and you oppose it to Tamisha, which is such a positive character, depicted in such a positive way? Well, the other one is going to look like a bitch. That's like math 101, storytelling 101. If you have a very positive character and you oppose it to someone, the other one, by sheer contrast, is going to look like a bitch. And this is exactly what happens. So in episode 2, she was a victim. And everything was exaggerated to make her look like a victim. That's my problem with it, that everything was so exaggerated, so over the top, so that she could look like she was a victim of 2 bullies. Then that edit went completely down the drain, because immediately in the beginning of the episode, she picks a fight. And who does she pick a fight with? With Tamisha. Now, I think that she probably could have picked a fight with everybody in that group, but we are shown the one with Tamisha. So think about it for a moment. From a storytelling point of view, why do you show me that? Because if you show me that, I'm going to think Elliot is a bitch. Is not a victim, is a bitch. So why go through the trouble of making him look like a victim in episode 2? Think about it for a moment. Think about it for a moment. So we have this huge scene with where am I? I lost the point. Wait a second, I lost the point. Oh, there we are. When she basically complains the fact that, oh my God, you threw me away, you did this, you did that, and she said that they were malicious. And you can see Tamisha is completely, how can I say, she's like shocked. How can you say something like that? I mean, nobody knew anybody. How can you come out and say it was malicious? Which was something really strange. It was something really strange. I kind of have a vibe that somebody is suggesting things to Elliot Years, if you know what I mean. But let's pass through it for a moment. So, do you remember this moment when Tamisha said, oh my God, you have all these chihuahuas around and you chose to pick a fight with a pit bull? I was gagging. I was gagging. Nevertheless, this is what they shown us. This is what they shown us. So the victim in episode 2 is not a victim anymore in episode 4. I wonder if she will become a victim again in episode 5. Well, with this kind of storytelling, you never know. We might just find out. But this, I wouldn't call it a villain edit, but let's call it a villainizing edit for Elliot goes on throughout the whole episode. Is one of the most consistent edit throughout the whole episode. It's absolutely incredible. This is Elliot's face that is shown to us when he finds out which group he is going to act with. This is her face. This is her face when her co-cast are acting and she's laughing in a confessional. I mean, this doesn't happen by chance. This was absolutely done with 100% consciousness of what you were doing. Okay, they did this. They villainized Elliot. Oh my God. They villainized Elliot throughout the whole episode. Every moment. Do you remember that scene where you see Gottmik and Tina helping Candy with her dress? And Candy is saying, well, I don't want to look like shit. That's why they're helping me. And then you jump immediately to a shot of Elliot turning around like, oh, yes, let me hear what's happening, which resounds a lot with that interview with the editor. Do you remember when she said, oh, if I want something to happen, then I will look for a shot of somebody turning and looking and paying attention because that works with the storyline. That works with the storyline. It's unbelievable. It's such an awful job. Why is it happening? Why is it happening? Well, I have two possible explanations for you. I have two possible explanations. Number one is that there is absolutely no communication with the people who produce one episode and the people who produce the other. They have zero communication. So one starts with a storyline and carries it out in edit, so Elliot becomes a victim, and the other one goes with a totally different storyline and said, no, Elliot is not a victim. Elliot is a villain, so he is going to bitch face the whole episode, is going to be shown aggressive, is going to be shown ridiculing other people. This, like there is absolutely no communication. How likely is that? I think it's absolutely unlikely because there are so many producers with so many different levels of supervision that something like this it simply cannot happen. It cannot happen. So it has to be intentional, at least in my opinion. Now, why would you do something like this? Because it's really a fucked up way of storytelling. This is not good storytelling. This is not quality storytelling because it's absolutely inconsistent. Okay, so someone was not doing its job, and it was not doing its job on purpose. So why is that? Well, I can think of only two possible reasons. One is because they are relying so much on shock value that storylines don't even matter anymore. They go on episode by episode. What should we do this episode so that we provide twists and turns? So first you're a victim, then you become a villain, then you become a sweetheart, then maybe you get a little bit of redemption, which makes absolutely no sense because we are never shown all the steps in between. Think about it this way. Think about it if they've shown Elliot in episode 2, okay? He was sad, he was thrown out of the race, then he finds out he's back again. And while he finds out that he is back again, he is bonding with this new group of queens and finding out that he is a little bit resentful for what happens to him. And so when the new queens comes out, he uses his strong bond with the new group to kind of look for support and help into realizing this, I don't want to say hatred, but this taste for being voted out. And after finding out the motivations of the other queens, he changes his mind and starts bonding with the group. This is a storyline. Do we see any of that? Absolutely not. We see absolutely not. Zero. So, what is it? Is it shock value? I think it's shock value. Shock value and very little talent in carrying out the storyline, so forth. I also think that it could be that they completely panicked this season. Don't forget that they have a lot of work to carry on in a very strict time schedule. Because working at distance means that you are less effective. So what you think before that you had 6 months to edit something effectively becomes like 4 months. Because it takes more time to communicate at distance, to work at distance, to set everybody's workstation. Then there is RuPaul's Drag Race UK, which adds even more work. And you cannot simply hire new producers or new editors. You have to train them. They have to know what they're doing on the job. So I think it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of shock value and a little bit of the fact that they were simply overwhelmed by the sheer amount of work that they had. Nevertheless, twists and turns and shock value, I don't think it's a good way to do a show because they take the time they get. It's as simple as that. Once you get used to the shock value, it's like a drug. It gives you tolerance. You do not feel you need bigger shocks, bigger turns. It's never enough. And you eventually reach a point in which everything becomes simply ridiculous. I prefer good storytelling with characters well fleshed out. This is what I personally prefer. And I think that they made a big mistake in pushing so hard with this victim storyline in episode 2, which was really pushed hard. We had so many confessionals, so many things omitted. This storyline of the mole coming out of nowhere. It was, you can see that someone worked hard into editing that episode to give you that image. And meanwhile, we completely lost the personality of Elliot. We see him being like, I'm a victim. No, now I am a villain. No, I am this. It's like I don't know. It's like a story told by a 12 years old who doesn't understand shades in between. I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like this. But it's my personal opinion, so take it as you will. Take it as you will. Now, what else do we have in this episode? What else do we... Oh, we have Candy and Tina. Have you noticed how much Candy was humanized throughout the whole episode? They basically did a 180. First, she was a bully for Elliot that was a victim. Now, Elliot becomes a villain, and Candy is the sweetheart. Did you notice there is a confessional from Gottmik, a mismatched confessional from Gottmik, praising her friendship with Candy and Tina? That didn't happen by chance either. So, twists and turns. That's the name of the game for this season. Whatever. Moving on. So we have this little bit of drama in the beginning between Tamisha and Elliot, and then it basically ends up there. And then RuPaul comes in, and of course, what does RuPaul do? He tries to stir the pot. So he goes to Utica, so you voted Elliot, so blah, blah, blah. This is so transparent. This is so... you know what this reminded me of? Of the reunion when RuPaul kept poking the vixen. And poking and poking and poking and try to hide it in a way. You know, she was stirring the pot. That's what she's doing. Which is kind of... it's kind of disgusting in a way. But, you know, she's a producer. You gotta do what you gotta do. And I also like this scene because we find out that RuPaul discovered MDMA. Even though she's 60... she just discovered MDMA. So we have these scenes in which she laughs hysterically for like 25 seconds. It is that long. It is that long. She's high as fuck, as usual. I don't know what's wrong with RuPaul. I don't know why they allow her to go recording on stage in this condition. I have no idea. Because she is so high. I mean, look at her eyes. Look at her eyes. What do these eyes tell you? Because to me, they tell me, call the dealer. Get me more. Get me more. And also, I don't know if you noticed, she doesn't walk. She doesn't walk anymore. She used to go around the workroom, you know, and say, oh, what are you doing? Oh, that's nice. Oh, and you, what are you doing? No, now she stays on the table. The queens come to her. She doesn't move. All the other ones move. Why is that? Well, maybe she, I don't know. Maybe she is too high to walk around the workroom. It could be, you know, when they finished filming this, they probably called RuPaul's handler to get her out of the workroom. Oh, God. So, we have this nice trio in this episode, and everything becomes the opposite of everything. Elliot from victim becomes villain. Candy from villain becomes a sweetheart. Tina so-and-so because she had like a ton of shady noises in the beginning of the episode. So I think we're going to see more with Tina in time. She's basically the only villain that is left. I don't think they're going to really do a 180 on Elliot. So, this is strange. This episode was so strange. It really was so strange. So, we have an acting challenge. Now, what's the problem with acting challenge? I hate acting challenges in this show. For one simple reason. They are really easy to manipulate. So, you have the producers who basically wrote the scripts. If we can call them. If we can call them scripts. Then they also assign the groups. And need I remind you that by chance, Elliot ended up in a group with Kimora and Denali, and Olivia too, but with Kimora and Denali. And in the beginning, she came out and she complained that they knew each other, so they wouldn't vote each other. So the whole thing was rigged. So they write the script. They assign the groups, and at some points they might even tailor the characters to the specific queen that will be part of that group. There is a scene in which you have Candy saying, oh my god, this is Candy Muse on paper, and I was like, really? Really? What a coincidence that felt like Candy Muse of paper. So they basically have all the control. Then we have the acting part. and they can do whatever they want there. If you are not being good enough, if you have to be good, they can cut out every kind of direction or feedback or suggestion that you receive. They can cut all that out, make you look like you killed it at the first try. If they have to make you look bad, they can find excuses, say, oh, this is not right, and then show it to us repeatedly. They can show you not understanding your feedback, not understanding the direction. They can show all of this and omit everything else. And the worst part is when they have the final cut of this, whatever it is, this RuPaul Mark channel acting things. So you see, from this point of view, the producers have 100% of the control. So we cannot tell, we cannot honestly tell who was good, who was bad, apart from extreme cases, like everybody will agree that Simone did really good and Kimora did really bad. There is no escaping that. There is just too much evidence right in front of our faces. But what about everybody else? Who knows? Who knows? Nobody knows. That's why I don't like this. So how are we going to try to find out what was going on with this challenge? That's a nice question. So I prepared a couple of charts and see if we can get any useful information from these couple of charts. Number one is this chart. In blue, you see, premise. First of all, premise. These times are subject to error. I didn't spend time really going half a second by half a second, so there is a margin of error in here. Consider that. How much? I would say about 5-10% at most. But there is a margin of errors. So in blue, you see how much time the editor spent showing us when they were filming. And in orange, you see the actual time when the episode aired. Well, no, it's not episode. When the thing that they were doing aired on the main stage. So immediately right off the bat, you see that Kimora has like a ton of time during filming. She has like double Denali, and Denali is the second longest one. She has like double for a part that when you look at it, it was like 12 seconds of screen time. 12 seconds. And on the opposite side of the screen, you have Elliot and Olivia. With Elliot, we are shown nothing. Zero. Absolutely nothing. So, Syria, no, this is not confessionals. This is the acting challenge. So, how can you combine this two kind of information and try to understand what the hell happened during filming? Because this is a challenge where they can manipulate everything. So can you do a reverse Uno on them and start saying, okay, since you showed me this, this, and this, then I can start digging to find out why you showed me specific things and why you didn't show me specific thing, and I can kind of punch through your head. Okay, so I prepared the second chart. Now, I will give you the disclaimer. Don't panic when you see this chart. Please don't panic. It is simple, okay? It's really, really simple. It looks complicated, but it is simple. So how did I create this new chart? Well, first of all, we want to acknowledge the fact that different queens had different parts. Some parts were very long, some parts were very, very short. So we have to first compensate for the fact that they had different parts. They had different times, okay? First, we compensate on that. And second, we put it into percentage. So what I did in this second chart was taking the time that we were shown them filming, minus the time that they actually acted when the final cut was ready for the main stage, over, this is sounding complicated, over the final cut time in percentage. Okay, it's starting to get complicated. I'm starting to lose it and I am tired. My God. So let's go to this damn chart and don't panic. I will explain it. Okay. Now, what you see on the left where Gamora is basically a percentage of time in which the Queen was overexposed during filming. So if they have a positive percentage, they've been overexposed. We have seen too much of them compared to what their actual acting was when the episode aired on the main stage. If they are on the far right, it means that they've been underexposed. We have been shown almost nothing during filming compared to the amount of time that they spent in the episode when it aired on the main stage. Okay? Now, how can this chart be useful? Well, if you account for a little bit of variability, let's say plus or minus 25%, then we can see that something interesting is happening on the left side with Gamora, Lala, Joy, and Utica, because they have been overexposed. And something similar happened with Tina, Olivia, and Elliot. They've been underexposed. Now, why is that? Well, let's go by one and try to find out. Gamora was overexposed because they had to send her home. Okay, that is done. Why are Lala, Joy, and Utica overexposed? That's a good question, because what we see about them is absolutely nothing to gag about. But it's right on our face. So they want us to see them not doing well. This is the meaning of being overexposed for them. Now, on the far right, we have Tina, Olivia, and Elliot. I think Elliot absolutely fucked it up, because we were shown zero of her filming time. And if you didn't show me, that means that you were hiding something. Now, what were you hiding? Well, I think they were hiding the fact that she basically fucked it up. She probably needed a ton of direction. She needed a lot of feedback, but we were shown nothing of it. And by the end of the episode, Elliot was safe. And if you look back at her acting, it was absolutely nothing to gag about. It was bad. It was really bad. Now, Olivia is debatable. What was happening with Olivia? It's really debatable, because first of all, I thought, well, maybe Olivia fucked it up. During the filming, she needed a ton of direction, she needed feedback, so maybe Olivia fucked it up. And when I was looking back, I realized that the line that she speaks on camera are in a different tone of voice compared to what aired on the main stage. So she filmed her part multiple times. Does it mean that she fucked it up? I don't know. I cannot say. It could also be that they showed us a little less of Olivia because they wanted a little bit of shock factor. Okay, a little bit of, ooh, we didn't show you anything, and then in the end you showed that she is really good. For me, it was nothing special, her acting. So I'm going to go with the possibility that she might have needed a little bit too much direction to look good if we saw it. And then we have Tina. Tina was absolutely underexposed. Why is that? I think because she absolutely killed it. I think she absolutely killed it. She killed it during rehearsal. She killed it in the episode that aired, but she was not to be in the top. So we were not shown all of that. So this is the meaning of this chart. Is there any question? I know it looks complicated, but we have to go into complicated stuff if we really want to get a glimpse of what happened during acting challenges, because it's absolutely impossible without get to this kind of level of sophistication to get an idea of what exactly is happening and why. We can look at normal time charts all we want, but we won't get this immediate image in your mind. Because if you look back at the chart before, you see that Tina has been had very little time in acting, but it doesn't really jump out to to the eye. You see Gottmik, for example. Look at Gottmik. She spent a ton of time during filming and a ton of time during herring. But when you go to the other chart, you kind of lose this. Okay. Now, let's move on to the judging. Let me drink a little bit of energy drink. I'm really falling asleep tonight. Okay. Now, what's going on with the judging? First of all, do you all agree with the judging? Do you all think that the top was the right top 3, the bottom 3 was the right top 3? What do you think about it? Because the more I think about it, the more I am not convinced. Not convinced at all. Also, there is something happening during the judging that I absolutely do not like. For some queens, the runway counts. For other queens, it doesn't. It's like when it's convenient, you know? When it's convenient that the runway counts, then we count it. When it's not convenient, we are not going to count it. It's whatever it is. So, we have in the top, we have Simone, Rosè, and Candy. Now, I have no problem with Simone winning. I think she did very good. What they shown us was really good of her. I didn't chuckle during her lines. I actually had a good chuckle with Rosè and Tamisha, not with Simone. But I can see, I'm not questioning the fact that she won. It's completely fine. What I'm questioning is that she was on the top with Rosè and Candy. Now, where the hell is Tamisha in all of this? Because, let's face it, Simone, Rosè, Candy, and Tamisha, they all did very well. Tamisha needed feedback. At least this is what we were shown. So that could be why she was not in the top. Then why did Simone win over Rosè and Candy? I think the only possible explanation is, well, she won because she had the best runway. Clearly. I mean, Candy looked the way she looked. And Rosè... My God, poor Rosè. I mean, it's. I hated Rosè's look. I really hated it. It was so badly done. So I really didn't like it. So the runway counts. That's why Simone won. Well, if they count, then why wasn't Tamisha in the top? That's what I think. Why wasn't she there? If the runway counts, why wasn't she there instead of Candy? Why wasn't she there instead of Rosè? So it's not a good look on Tamisha, the fact that they didn't put her in the top, especially when you look at Candy and Rosè's runway. They are awful. Let's be honest, they are kind of awful. The same is true for Tina. Tina, I think it was the one that I hated the most. This red was, I really, really didn't like it. But you see, if you go with the fact that the runway count, then how do you justify that Tamisha is not there? How do you justify that? I absolutely don't get it. And then we have the bottom. In the bottom, we have Denali, Kimora, and Lala. Now, if the runway do count, then what the hell is Denali doing on the bottom? Why is she even there? I mean, we've seen the episodes. We've taken a look at the chart. We know that Lala kind of fucked it up. Elliot probably fucked it up. And Joey probably fucked it up as well. And their runway was nothing to gag about. Maybe Elliot was a little bit better. I actually liked Elliot, but Joey was, I mean, it was nothing compared to what Denali and Lala brought to the runway. So why the hell, I can understand Kimora, but why the hell was Denali in the bottom? I don't get it. Well, yes, of course I do get it. I get it why she's there. Somebody in the episode, in last episode, suggested, well, you know, it's RuPaul's Drag Race, so at some point Denali and Kimura will have to lip sync together because they are friends. And it was good thinking because I didn't think about it, but it's absolutely what happened in the end. And we've seen it happen many, many times. So this could be one of the reasons why they put Denali on the bottom. I think it also kind of, I don't want to say injures her character, but it kind of stops her race a little bit, because now we know that she lost the first lip sync and then she had to lip sync for her life in episode 4. Yes, she won one time, but it's not a good look. I mean, the lip sync was amazing. It's always a pleasure to see Denali lip sync. By the way, I watched her videos of When I Grow Up, when she lip syncs on ice. It's absolutely amazing. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's incredible. You can see that she's really trained. She really has a talent for skating, for ice skating. So my point is, I don't really agree with the top for this episode. I don't really agree for the bottom. I think that everything was basically done for a reason. Now, I don't want to continue push always on the same thing, but need I remind you that Rosè was in the top again and she didn't win again. So I hope that by episode 5, the producers realized that there is no way that they could ever trigger her, and they stop doing this bullshit. They stopped doing this bullshit. She did very well in this episode. I didn't like the outfit, but, you know, it kind of feels like they tried and tried and tried again and again and again and again, and it's getting tiring. You know, I'm almost getting tired of talking about this, because we've been talking about this for 3 episodes already at length. Yet it's so many things that you cannot tell me, oh, it's a coincidence. It's a coincidence. It's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It cannot be a coincidence. And Denali didn't deserve the bottom. I mean, if the runway counts, it counts for everyone. If it doesn't count, it doesn't count for everyone. This is, you know, inconsistency. It's the theme of this episode. Inconsistent edit, inconsistent judging, inconsistent everything. Everything is inconsistent. Why don't they hire new people? If this is the result, it's time to hire new people. So you can, I think you can hear it from my voice. I'm kind of aggravated, and I am, because this episode could have been so good, yet it was so fake. So I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Maybe it was because I liked the episode before so much. I was absolutely living for episode 3. It was probably one of the best episodes in the last 2 or 3 seasons. But whatever. Now, moving on. There is one thing that a couple of things that I still want to talk about, which is characters that have been humanized during this episode. So we have Tamisha again, which, of course, she has to be there because she's an angel, and that's where she belongs. And Simone. Now, by this time, oh no, we're going to talk about this during the speculations. So, why is it important that we take a look at who they are starting to humanize during the show? Well, that's important because once they start humanizing you, you are probably going home. Either you are going home or you go for the long shot. There is no middle way in this. Everybody who needs to go home will be humanized first, and Kimura is a perfect example of that. Okay? Now, another thing that I want to point your attention to is that this thing of sisterhood. It's a common theme, like since episode 1. You see all these queens coming together and say, "Oh, you are my sister. Oh, I love you so much. Oh, I'm growing so attached to all of you." You know, and I watch all of this and I think, this is bullshit. This come on. You've seen each other for like 2 hours. It has to be bullshit. And then I stopped thinking for a moment and I realized, oh, wait a moment. All of these queens spend like $20,000 to $40,000 to prepare the outfits. They have to work around the clock, 10, 15 hours a day, every day, 5 to 6 days a week. They invested their own image in the show, which means some of them will be in the show tired because they are working continuously and with the constant thought, what if I'm portrayed as a villain? What if I get out of this and people destroy me on social media? What if I get out of this and I lose my livelihood? They are under such level of stress that at some point I started thinking, wait a moment, what if these people are all living this experience as a trauma? Like a traumatic experience, you know. Working 15 hours a day, you have money on the line, you have your image on the line, your livelihood on the line. It can be kind of a trauma. So I thought, oh, that's why they're bonding, because shared trauma make people bond. That's why support groups are so successful, you know. So I thought, why not share this thought? Okay, what do we have next? What do we now? Ooh, a confessional extravaganza. A confessional extravaganza. First of all, Kimora and Kimora's eyebrows. So I talked about this in the Discord. I talked about it in the community section. We are going to talk about it again because I didn't do it in the video, but we will be very, very quickly. We'll do this very, very quickly. So what's happening with the eyebrows? Now we know that filming lasts for 4 to 5 weeks. Eyebrows don't regrow that fast. So this had to be filmed after the whole thing was done. I think it was filmed when they filmed the Meet the Queens. I think it was around November. And for some reason, for some exceptional reason, the producer thought, wait a minute, we didn't humanize Kimora enough. So come back, put on the same clothes, please go in the confessional and talk about something personal of yours that you would like to share, because you know that you are basically going home, so we need this moment for you. And she probably sat there, filmed the confessional and so on. But now we know why. That's because she was going home. That's why she was refilming the confessional. And I have to give it to World of Wonder. I thought that they botched storylines. They needed to change the confessionals, and that's why she refilmed it. But after seeing the episode, I think it was because they wanted to humanize her a little bit more, which is a good thing on their part. So you hear me shit on World of Wonder like 24/7, but we also have to recognize when they actually do good thing. So I approve of refilming this Kimora's confessional. I absolutely approve of it. She needs the support, especially after you realize that in episode 1, she said that she invested her life savings into this. And I don't know why they even decided to put that in the final cut, because it's not a good look for RuPaul's Drag Race. It's not a good look when you start seeing queens who are so hungry for success, for creating a platform, that they are willing to sacrifice their life savings to come on the show, because the show wants good dresses, good looks, everything has to be big, everything has to be expensive, the time for preparing is very limited, so you have to pay someone, you cannot do everything by yourself. So you have queens maxing out credit cards, you have queens using their savings for doing Drag Race. You probably have queens asking for loans. I think that's one of the most common things that they do. I think it's only a matter of time before we start hearing horror stories of queens getting a mortgage on the house so that they can get the funds that they need to go on Drag Race. I mean, look back. Where is the image? Let me pull that image for a moment. Here we go. Look back at their looks. I mean, some are kind of busted, but you cannot tell me that any of those dresses, if you didn't make it, could have cost less than $2,000 or $3,000. It's impossible. Look at Denali, look at Elliot, look at Olivia, who else? Look at Simone, and Simone can't sew, so they spend money for this. It's a huge investment. So you have to understand, when you have a queen like Amora coming out saying, I spent my life savings on this, and then she goes on first, well, maybe it's time to live a good image for her on the show. A humanizing image, something that we as viewers can see it from the other side of the screen and say, oh, I start to feel an emotional connection to this person, because that's the name of the game, emotional connection. Okay, so it's a good thing that they did this for Kimora, and good for her. Good for her. Now, who else do we have? Rosè. Now, we have one mismatched confessional for Rosè in this episode as well. If we didn't have enough in the previous episode, then we have them in this episode as well. What does she say in this confessional? Why did they cut it midway and matched it with something else? She is praising Simone. She starts saying something and then she continue praising her. When the episode comes out, I will cut this confessional for you so you can actually listen what she's saying. So they mismatched this confessional so that she could praise Simone. Now, the image on the right you might be familiar with because we've seen it in the episode before. It was used in episode 3 so that she could support the drama that was being created around Kimora. She is saying in this confessional, I hope we are all ready. And it's used in episode 3 to make it look like she's referring to Kimora. In reality, it comes from this episode. So she was probably talking about the acting challenge. Okay? Next one. Gottmik. Gottmik is that. Do you remember Fifi O'Hara? There was one episode in season 4 when, well, at the time, Queen still had different clothes in the confessional, but she had like 6 different confessionals from different days, all in one episode. And I think that Gottmik is really going to, how can I say, she wants to beat Fifi's record. She wants to beat Fifi's record. Why does she have mismatched confessional in this episode? And why did she have them before? Well, in the main show, in the video that's on the channel, I talked for a long time about Gottmik and why they pulled a ton of confessionals in episode 2. But in this instance, she's doing it for humanizing her relationship with Tina and Candy. This is what she's talking about in this confessional. Of course, she starts with one confessional that ends with another one. So they were matched together to make it look like she's praising her friendship with the two of them. Because, you know, this episode is the exact opposite of what happened in episode 2. So Tina and Candy are no villains anymore. They are humans. They are redempted humans, even though we saw nothing of that redemption. But this is what this episode is about. Moving on. Simone. Okay. Now, there's something going on with Simone. I don't know. Now, on the left, you see her confessionals from episode 2. That's her hair growth in episode 2. We know that episode 3 probably took 3 days for filming. Maybe let's even consider that they had a 2-day pause because, you know, maybe it was the weekend, okay? So the question that I'm asking you is it possible that hair can grow that fast in 5 days from left to right? Because it doesn't seem likely to me, especially if you look in the center. That's her hair growth during this episode. Episode 4 was filmed in 2 days. At least it looks like it was filmed in 2 days. So she has that hair grow in the center top, and then in day 1, and then in day 2 she shaved her hair. So what the hell is going on with the confessional on the right? I have no idea. I have no idea where these confessionals come from, but all of Simone's confessionals from this episode show that kind of hair growth. So either they took, I don't know, I cannot even say, maybe they come from episode 5 because she just shaved her hair again. So either it was a refilm of this all of the whole confessionals from this episode, and it was refilmed during in season. Okay, because you have to think about this. They go in the workroom, they film for the day, maybe they have the main stage, whatever it is. Then after doing all of that, immediately after, during the evening or the day after in the morning, then they film the confessional for the day. And what usually happens, what I've seen happening in this season is that, let's assume that one episode has 2 days, which means 2 confessionals. What will happen is that they will ask again the question that they asked for the confessional during the first day. So you have day 1, and the producer asks a set of questions during the confessionals. Then they have day 2, and the producers ask a set of new questions plus all the old ones. Because we have different confessionals with queens that have different haircuts referring to the same exact day of filming. So the only possible option is that they've been simply asked twice. So this could be what happened to Simone. Is it likely? I don't think so. I think these confessionals were refilmed completely for the whole day. I don't know why. We can only speculate as to why it happened. But the only thing that we can do at the moment is to continue tracking the confessionals and see if we will ever find any other with this much hair growth. But, you know, such an intrusion of her original confessionals, to me, screams fucked up storylines. That's the only thing that I can think of, because Simone is portrayed in such a positive way. You know, if I didn't start this season thinking, oh, Gottmik is the hero because this, and this reason. If I didn't start with that thought that now it's stuck in my mind, I would almost tell you, no, Simone is the hero of the season. She cannot do no wrong. I mean, she is impressive. I'm not denying that. But you know, sometimes it feels like it's pushed a little bit too hard. Not at the Gigi Good level. Absolutely not. But it's kind of like we are kind of getting there in a way. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Let's move on to the confessional chart and start making some speculation. So, negative confessionals, as usual. Tina. Because Tina always has a negative confessional. Tina, I think she is the only reliable, viable villain for the season. She is outspoken. She is, in a way, she is outrageous. In a good way. But you know, when you have the power of editing everything you want, everything that you want, you can make somebody outrageous look like is being kind of offensive. So if they have a lack of villains, and I think they had, Tina is starting to rise up. We will see it happen immediately next episode. So be prepared, because next episode we will finally have our villain, at least one of them. We've seen them poking a little bit here and a little bit there. We've seen them poking Denali. We've seen them poking Tina. We've seen them poking Candy. We've seen them poking a pool of queens, I believe, in the effort of having some of them snap and create some nice good drama for the show. Now, what I would consider surprising, if it's Elliot that turns out to be the villain, that I would consider really surprising. In a way, I would be surprised. I don't think it's good storytelling, but I would be surprised of something like that. Will it happen? I don't know. I don't know. Because, you know, I started this season thinking, oh, Candy is the villain. Why? Well, because if you look back at the past 4 seasons, every villain was even a queen of color or a big girl, or even better, a big girl who is also a queen of color. This show loves to villainize people of color. So the moment you have somebody like Candy, who is a person of color, who is a big girl, and she's also outspoken, it's basically your perfect villain. So the fact that they passed on the opportunity of portraying her as a villain, like we've seen in this episode, when she's basically portrayed as a sweetheart, it's really curious. It's really curious. I don't like this kind of storytelling. I gotta be honest. Not that I don't like twists and turns, because that's absolutely human. But if you are portraying them as humans, then there is no need to exaggerate things. Just show them for what they are. And that I can understand, because today you have a bad day and you act like a bitch. Tomorrow you have a good day, you are bonding with other people, and we see the best side of you. Then the day after tomorrow you get attacked and you react to it. It's all human. But then if you're showing me that, then there is no need to exaggerate things. If you get what I mean. So there is still no obvious narrator. I think Joy could be the narrator for this season. I talked about it during the former speculations for last episode. Because he's always there, is continuously talking about what's happening, is still didn't have a humanizing moment. So my best bet for the narrator is Joy. Now, villains, we talked about it. Let's talk about the top 4, because at this point I would say, do you remember when we said there is the queen of color not portrayed as a villain that comes from marketing because a good portion of your viewers are people of color and they need somebody to relate to. This is a marketing thing. I don't want it to sound offensive, and I have to stress this out because I received a comment saying, oh, how dare you say something like this and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. No, it's not my opinion. It's a marketing thing. Nothing more. So as the possible top 2 token queen of color not portrayed as a villain, we had Simone and Olivia. At this point, I would absolutely discount Olivia because Simone is getting so much praise. She is winning so much. She has been complimented. She has been told that she's a star. We have confessionals that have been mismatched in order to praise her. I think that at this point there is very little doubt that that spot is hers. That specific spot is hers. The young and talented, of course, it's Gottmik. We talked about it at length. Who are the other 2? Well, that is a good question. I would say that Utica could very well be in the top 4, like it happened with Crystal Method last season. You know, you have to have someone who is a little bit different. You know, who is a very peculiar queen. I think that we could have Utica on the top 4. And the 4th one, I have no idea yet. I think it could be anyone from a long season villain, like Tina, for example, or someone else between Denali, Candy, and Rosè. We have to see it. Seeing what they are doing with Denali, I'm starting to think that they are going to chop her for some reason. Because they really did too much. I mean, she's an incredible queen, but come on, put her in the bottom. This episode made absolutely no sense. It made absolutely no sense. Who else didn't we talk about? Tamisha. Well, you know, this show doesn't like old queens. That's as simple as that. They don't. I am surprised that they are portraying her in such a positive way. I'm honestly surprised of that. I'm happy about it, but I'm surprised because you know what they usually do to older queens on this show. They go on first, or they are used to always have this kind of story arc. Oh, I am Hold and I am bitter. So it's me Hold against you Youngs. You know, they build this kind of fucked up narrative. They always did this. So let's be happy with what we have. But honestly, I don't think she has any chance of getting to the top 4. It would be incredible if it happens, but I simply don't see it happening. I simply don't see it happening. So who is going home next episode? Of the queens that I talked about, I think none of them is going to go home. Especially Tamisha, because Tamisha can sew. And next episode is going to be a sewing challenge. So there is absolutely no way she's going anywhere. Who has storylines that are still developing? Well, we have Rosè, Tina, Candy, and Elliot. They have this web that absolutely interconnects them. So until those lines are developed, I don't think they're going anywhere. Who else do we have? My God, 12 queens is still so many. It's still so difficult. Gottmik. I'm kind of surprised of Gottmik. I mean, if they are really pulling the woke card on Gottmik and make her the face of the brand and get the publicity and get all of this, they are playing the long game with Gottmik, aren't they? I mean, it's kind of time that if they really want her to be the face of the brand for this year, she has to win something, because she has been kind of skating around. If you agree on that. We still haven't seen her blow up. She had this huge personal storyline in episode 2, but then other than that, she kind of faded in the background. So I think that they might go the kind of silent assassin way, if you know what I mean. Take their time, let other queens go home, and then finally let her emerge at a later time. So we'll have to see about that. So who are we left with? Olivia. Olivia, I think that she is not a contender for the spot anymore. It's Simone's. But she's still portrayed in a very positive way. I kind of have a feeling that she doesn't have any story arc. She is just sweet. She is just there. And that's not really a good thing on this show. Because if you don't have an important storyline, it means that you're probably going to go home. But before that happens, we have to have a humanizing moment. So basically, whoever is going to get a humanizing moment next episode is probably going to go home. Who are the nomination for me? Who I think are likely to go home based on storyline, based on development, and based on personal intuition? Well, in the pool, I would put Olivia and Olivia, who else? Lala, and probably even Elliot, if he exhausts his storyline next episode. Maybe Elliot a little bit less, because there is so much going on. They worked so hard on his headed for this episode and for episode 2 that throwing away this card next episode starts to sound a little bit suspicious. So I'm not so convinced of Elliot. So if I have to nominate 2, I would say Lala and Olivia. This is my prediction for next episode. Now that we have done that, let's take a pause. Let's go smoking a cigarette as usual. Let's get a new energy drink because I finished the 3rd one. Yeah, I know. Whenever I do these streams, I start tired because, it's midnight right now. So I start tired. Then I start gobbling 1 energy drink, 2, 3. And then I start going on until 2, 3 in the morning. And then when the stream is over, I'm still awake for another hour. I have to find a balance. I have to kind of find a balance. Okay. So let's take a pause. We have some royalty-free music because we realized that if we have copyrighted music and then we remove it, then the chat will disappear. So everyone watching the stream afterward will lose the pleasure of reading the chat, which for me is like 40% of the fun of watching a long live stream is reading the chat. So I absolutely want the chat to stay there, so we'll have to stay with copyright-free music. With that said, I will do my best to find some pleasurable music to play, but for now we have what we have. So let's take a pause and I'll see you back in 4 or 5 minutes. See you later. And we're back. Okay. Let's have our nice relaxed time. As usual. Let's have our kiki time. What do you guys want to talk about? I accept suggestions in the chat while I read some of your comments, because why not? We always do it. Party, Ty Hill. Mrs. G, nice to see you, as usual. I hope you're doing better. I read your comment that you were having a hard time, so. Alex Escalona, bye Felicia. Kagura, from where you from? We are from Europe. It's two of us. I am the voice of the chat, the editor, but my sweet half is sleeping already because it's like 15 past midnight right now. Tatiana, I haven't actually decided on a favorite queen yet. All are good in their own rights. I wish the show wasn't so cutthroat and actually mentor the queens to be better than before. Well, then you might want to rewatch some of the very early season. If you watch season 1, for example, you won't believe RuPaul. She's actually helping the queens in the workroom. She's actually giving good advice. Like usable advice. It's incredible. It's a totally different person. Well, that's the effect of money, I believe. Money and fame. Daisy Yogitten says, can we talk about how RuPaul used 100% Pure Love as the lip sync song, the Wick of Drain category? Well, it's an open secret that I absolute hate the lip sync songs that they are playing for this season. I don't think I liked one. Oh no, there was It's Raining Men. That I liked. That was gay enough for me. But it's not a queer show for queer people anymore. It's a queer show for everybody. So they're going with whatever, I don't know, whatever needs publicity, whatever they have on the catalog and they don't pay for it. It's really questionable because, you know, when you looked at this week challenge, for example, they made a big deal of knowing your reference, knowing your history, and so on. And then they don't put an iconic gay song as a lip sync. It's kind of, you know, it doesn't sum up somehow. So I'm actually, how can I say, I'm very dissatisfied with the lip sync songs in general. Felicia says, Candy's runway has been bad. Well, it wasn't the worst for me, but good is another thing. Good is another thing. But, you know, I rarely judge their runway because, you know, the money, it's basically a fight between who has more money. And you can say, well, no, maybe you also have to have taste, you know. Everybody can have money, but then you have taste to buy good things. Well, but if you don't have taste, you can hire someone who has taste. So it's really a fight with whoever can invest more money. So, you know, sometimes I comment on the way they look, but I don't really spend much time doing so. I don't see the point. Ty Hill, long time no see. Hope you've been well. I have been well. I've been well. A little bit tired because I'm not used to this kind of workload. Since for this season we are having regular episodes coming out and it still takes time. Plus I have to work for other videos for the channel. So I've been well, a little bit tired. A little bit tired. Caroline, Denali is my favorite. Denali is beautiful. She's growing on me a lot. I mean, if you see her skating, she's just an angel on ice. I don't see how can they possibly pull a villain edit on her. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope it's all about twists and turns. So today you're going to believe that this person is a villain. Then tomorrow she is a sweetheart. Then I hope they're going to do something like that. I hope they're going to do something like that. Tatiana says, I know early seasons were the best. I hate what's happening now. I think the show is becoming less iconic. It's the storytelling is not there. You had this very, very early seasons in which they were very realistic. There was whenever there was too much edit, it was really over the top. It was really it gave you this idea that it wasn't there to give you an exaggerated perception of what was happening. It was more there as a sort of meta commentary on editing on other reality TV show. That was incredible to me. That was revolutionary in a way. And then they went full on editing for all the other seasons. And in the last 2 or 3 seasons, it looks like they don't even care about doing that anymore. I mean, last season was really, really by the book. Last season, it was really easy to punch through the characters, to punch through the edit. It was like extremely clear since the beginning. You had like this rivalry between Gigi and Nikki in the beginning. We would hear them talk. And then Nikki goes home. Gigi as a hero had it. And then there was the villains immediately coming out in episode 1. And what else happened in episode 1? There was Crystal Method, who had like 1 confessional in episode 1 and like 2 in episode 2. So, or no, it was like episode 3 because there were 2 premieres. So you see already, oh, you're not showing it. Well, if you're not showing her, she's either going on first or she's going to explode later on. It was really easy to punch through. I'm actually having problem this season because they have such inconsistent edits for some reason. Dark Magic. Wait, you didn't like Lady Marmalade? No, I loved Lady Marmalade. That was basically the only one that I loved. Gothboy UK, glad that you made it. I saw your message before. I thought, oh, I'm going to read it, and then I didn't read it. I got lost. I'm sorry. But welcome. Nice to see you. Daisy, I mean, they used a fast-paced song when most queens would be trapped in a gown. Yeah, that was kind of a dick move. Consider that you've seen what Kimora was wearing. It was incredible. It was amazing. But was she really going to rip the dress to lip sync against Denali? There was no chance in hell. Also, I don't know if any of you noticed, but Kimora didn't know the words. I saw at least 2 different scenes where she didn't know the words. Sasha, Paula, we don't do spoiler. Oh shit! Do we still have Fantasia Amateur Season? Do you still have anyone? Okay, Paula, I'm going to. To ask you to don't do spoilers in here. We don't do spoilers in here. I know that there are reliable spoilers in here. I was spoiled one time in last season. So I know that there are reliable. Please don't do it. It's like it's annoying. Nightmare Truebaiter says, do you think they almost don't have any suing challenge anymore due to them being difficult to edit in favor of one or another queen, or maybe due to the time it takes to record? I'm going to agree with you on the first question that you ask. It's really, really difficult to edit a suing challenge in favor or against one specific contestant. I mean, you can have the judges coming, during the when they are on the main stage and coming out with stupid bullshit like, oh, this looks crafty. Or then you have something that looks really crafty and they say, oh, this is so original and out of the line. And coming out with creative bullshit to try to justify the fact that they are pushing someone up or pushing someone down. And people are kind of getting annoyed with it. So yes, that's one of the reasons. You're basically, how can you edit someone to look good when You know, it's a dress. We see it. You can try to, you know, go to specific angles to make someone look worse, make something else look better, but it's really difficult. Acting challenges are absolutely the best ones. That's why we're starting to get so many of them. We have like 3 or 4 acting challenge every season. If it's not acting, then it's improv. If it's not improv, then it's the snatch game. It's, you know, they grant you all the power, which is basically what they want. Having all the power to portray everyone as they want. You know, it's like a machine. It's like a money machine. You want it to be as reliable as possible. You want to cast queens and already have an idea of which kind of roles they have. You want to have your storybook, in which you basically decide who goes home and when before even day 1 of filming has begun. This is what you want. You want a machine that prints money without many problems. You don't want to adjust on course. It starts becoming complicated. This is a business. Let's not forget that. And then, the other question that you have, maybe due to the time it takes to record. Absolutely not. It's not a matter of time, because we have challenges that actually took 3 days of filming, like the Phenomenon episode, you know, episode 2 and episode 3. Those took 3 days of filming. I cannot give it to you as a fact, but judging by the way the queens appear, and I did try to count their workload during the day and so on, and it came out that it had to be 3 days. So sewing challenges take about 2 days. If you need to go quick, they can really take 2 days. You start in the morning, you give the assignment, they start working the whole day, then the day after they continue in the morning, go the afternoon, and in the evening you shoot the episode. You can get rid of it in 2 days, but even if it's 3, it's no big deal. I don't think it's a matter of time constraint. Not at all. It's that it makes you lose power. You can have 1 of those, but not 2. Not 2. I would like it though. I think it's one of the best part of the show. Lena says, it's such a "you're a queer" name. Oh, name 5 of their song Energy that is very gatekeeping and negative. Yeah, you're referring to RuPaul being a bitch in the workroom. I mean, are you surprised? Luis Felipe, Denali posted a 100% pure love performance on her YouTube channel. Feating featuring Nina West. Yes, Denali is absolutely worth watching. I subscribe to her channel. If you didn't do it, go watch it. It's an assignment. Miles, what's going on, y'all? We are chilling. Nothing more. Comments, questions, whatever it is. The show is over. It's usually over in 1 hour. Then we spend a couple of times socializing because we're all stuck at home. Lena Clark, why don't you know this queer culture reference from 1987? A judge talking to a 23-year-old. Yeah, this is what's puzzling to me. You know, they make such a big deal of knowing your references. Then you have this kind of songs for a lip sync. It makes no sense. You know, when they do something like this, it's because they want someone to look bad. Plain and simple. Felicia, if I was able to choose, I would be Candy. That I would send home if she has another bad runway. Yeah, but then again, when you know the kind of impact that runway have on queens, and these queens are lucky, they actually had months to prepare. In the older seasons, they have had 3 or 4 weeks to prepare. So, you know, it really depends on how much money you have. I don't blame them too much on the runway. I will laugh. You know, sometimes I would be like, oh, this dress really looked like shit, but it's in good heart. because I know the struggle that's behind it. So I don't really, for this show, I don't really discuss dresses. Whenever I watch the episode, it really takes the time it gets for me. I would be much more interesting in ensuing challenges and then see those runway. That would be interesting to me. Other than that, it's like saying, oh, what did you buy? Blake says, last stream you mentioned Raja versus Carmen to Straight Up and a certain part where it looks like the queens were told to continue with the song. I rewatched it and my yes. Yes. Did you see it? It's like so obvious that you have like Raja waiting. Oh, okay, we're starting. Okay, now I'm lip syncing. Syria, I remember that the judges told Aja during All Stars that her look was too Brigitte Bardot for the Warhol runway, and that Warhol never painted Bardot, even though he did. Oh God! But you know, much of what they say during the judging, it basically comes from their hairpiece. If you think that RuPaul, high as fuck at 60 years old, can come with such clever lines out of the blue, I mean, I appreciate your naiveness. I think it's a lovable trait, but that's not exactly what's happening. Gothboy says, it was season 4 that changed the show for me. I saw how evil Fifi was being portrayed and didn't recognize the person I knew online. That's when I realized it was edited more than I thought. I did enjoy season 4 at the time. I still was very naive, so whenever I was watching the season going on, I was continuously thinking, oh my God, Fifi is such a bitch, Fifi is such a bitch, Fifi is such a bitch, with such conviction that if I look back at myself, I'm like, come on, are you really believing all of this? And you have all of this mismatched confessional coming out, and I didn't see it. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't trained to paying attention. I started smelling something around season 5 because it was too perfect. Everything, every elimination made sense. All the storyline was carried out so well. You had this huge hero arc for Jinx. It was just a little bit too much. Then I started smelling a stunt. And then I started realizing what was happening. Because believe it or not, I have, before Drag Race, I had almost zero experience with reality television. Drag Race introduced me to the talking heads. I never knew what they were before Drag Race. Sasha, I'm sorry I deleted a couple of your messages because I was moderating Paula. So I'm sorry. Oh my God, Sasha, I timed you out. Oh shit. Oh shit. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to how this whole thing works. So, Spyros, I'm gonna be pissed if they put Tamisha and Lala in the bottom too. Oh, but talking about Tamisha and Lala, we still didn't have them talking about the fact that they are supposed to be drag mother and drag daughter. It still hasn't come out. I wonder what they are waiting for. I mean, they surely talked about it. It's just that it was edited out, but I don't know what they are waiting for. Felicia, I love the intermission. I'm going to wash the dishes. Zoe said, what do you think about Drag Race UK? Believe it or not, I didn't have time to watch it. I watched it a little bit of it, but I watched season 1. But season 2, I saw a little bit, I think the end of episode 1 and the beginning of episode 2. Rumor has it that it's edited so badly that it's very disingenuous. You know, a lot of people are watching it and then relaying back to me, my God, the edit is so bad. If you think it's bad for Drag Race, wait till you see Drag Race UK Season 2. Gothboy, I think they will put Tamisha and Lala in the bottom and then reveal the family link just as the lip sync starts for the drama. That's really sharp of you. That's really sharp of you. It could be. It could very well be. Because why the hell are they holding on to this? Luis Felipe, if Rosè doesn't win anything until episode 6 or 7, somebody's gonna have a breakdown. Well, it's time. Poor Rosè. Poor Rosè. I mean, there were so many coincidences that I admire her nerves. At that point, I would be like, come on, stop fucking with me. You know, either send me home or stop fucking with me. Blake Robinson, I was not at all surprised this week when Denali and Kimora had to lip sync. You mentioned my comment in the video from the last stream. I called it. Oh, that was you. That was you. You called it. That's really good, you know. And the good thing about doing this show is that even if I don't get things, you guys from the chat get things. So it becomes like a common effort. It becomes like a common effort. It was a good call because it's absolutely true. Whenever you have friends on Drag Race, they lip sync together. It always happens. Velho, right before the lip sync, 2 queens stand before me. Lady, this is your final... Oh yeah, and your drag mother and drag daughter. Don't fuck it up. I'm sorry I butchered the joke. Diogo, I'm very happy that Tamisha adopted Kimora, and now Kimora is part of the Iman dynasty. Oh, that's so lovely. That's so lovely. Considering what's going on, she needs a good drag mother. And by the way, Kimora Iman Hall is a very good name. I agree, Diogo. I absolutely agree. Nightmare says, thank you so much. Thanks so much. I really miss suing challenges. Me too. You know, we had season 3 with like 400 suing challenges, and then we completely lost them. Can we have at least 2? You know, in a season that goes on for like 12 episodes, 13 episodes, how many it is. We have even one more this season because they did like a 3-episode premiere. At least let me have 2. That's really the best part because drag is crafty, you know. We are used to all of these dresses, but they buy them from Drag Race. Most of the real drag queens out there, they are crafty people. They create their thing. Paula, hello, it's me from another account. Can you able me to chat, please? I didn't make any spoiler and I wasn't going to. Oh my God, Paula, I am sorry. Let's start with this. I'm sorry. I'm not used to using the moderation part of the chat, but it was timed, and timed means 5 minutes. So please, you can come back with the other one. It's nothing against you, but we had one person last stream who went on for like 10 minutes before somebody muted the person, you know, and maybe those things turn out to not to be true and so on, but it's just annoying, but it's not personal. Know this. Dixie, you must learn to sue and take the improv class before sending in your tape. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you should also see a therapist, because if they are going to trigger you that much, you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared. Miles, if anyone is watching The Masked Singer in the UK, I think that dragon is RuPaul. I don't know what it means. Marlon, what Simone, Michelle, Kelly, and Latoya have in common? They're whores? In a good way. In a good way. Ty Hill. But good thing they really like Crystal, because they really wanted to use that license any chance they could. Oh, for the Rhythm of the Night. Yes, I heard that they acquired the license for AJ and the Queen, and they just reused it for season 12. Oh my god. Lady Baconator. That know your reference thing is dumber, considering that the show tries to appeal to teenagers who most likely don't know those references anyway. Absolutely agree on that one. It makes no sense. That's what I did before. I think they did this only because they wanted to drag some queens. That's the only reason why they did it. Because those kind of references have nothing to do with the demographic. It's really, really young people and teenagers who don't give a shit about, you know, from this people point of view, the 90s, it's like last millennia. It doesn't work. Sasha, they had 3-4 weeks to prepare again. They got their call on June 5th. Did they? Did they? I thought because they had the casting call for sending in the tape around February, I think, of 2020. So casting usually lasts 2-3 months before they come in. I thought they had their call much before. But if it's really June 5th, then they basically had a month to prepare. Through, like you said, 3-4 weeks at most. Daisy, in my opinion, I thought Elliot and Lala had the worst runway of the night. Elliot and Lala, I liked Elliot's runway. It was like a wedding dress. It fit very well. I liked it. But then again, you know, it's not like I have a taste. I stopped pretending I even have a taste. So the one that I disliked the most was Tina. I think it fitted horribly to her body, and this blue and red, it's such it's like a punch in the face, you know? It's really like a punch in the face. Lena says, I'm 27 and I don't know these old references. What makes them think that teenagers who make up the bulk of the audience will get it? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think they care. I think they stopped caring. Luis Felipe says, Tina Tamisha and even Olivia Utica did a better job than Rosè. There were no reason for the producers to put her in the top 3 unless they wanted to trigger her even more. That's what I believe as well. I mean, she had a really, really small part, but she killed that small part. But if you're counting the runway, then what was she even doing there? That runway was terrible. It was really terrible. Didn't even look like a concept. It was really, this time I really agreed with the, and it's rare, but I really agreed with the critique. It looked like a suit with a train attached and nothing more. Paula, what do you think about the fracking situation with RuPaul? Well, it's fucked up. When you have a person that comes and does an interview saying, oh, much of my money comes from Drag Race, then why do you need fracking? Why do you need it? It's awful. And talking about fracking, you know, guys, that I'm preparing the our parody song. It's going to be Kitty Girl, the All-Stars 4 version. No, All-Stars 3 version of Kitty Girl. So I wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about it. Because I was thinking, if any of you want to participate, I know that you gave your availability to sing about it, but would any of you give the availability to film yourself in it? Because this is something that I was thinking about it, because I have this weird idea of taking a bed sheet, dressing up like a ghost, and start dancing in a dumpster for the music video for the show. So what I was thinking is, if anyone is available to like hugging a trash can or you know, play, I don't know, the angel of garbage or whatever it is. So we have the section in the Discord. Let me know what you think about it. Dixie, if you want a class on old reference, watch Vilma Finger do. She's a reference encyclopedia. Absolutely. Absolutely. Vilma is a legend. Felicia, VH1 must have a big influence on what we are seeing now. Well, of course it has. Of course it has. Think about this. If you are paying someone for producing a show, you are not going to pay and then say, okay, I pay you and you do whatever you want. That's no deal. I pay you, but I also want to have a saying in what you do. Because you never know. That's normal. That's absolutely normal. Of course they have a saying. It's VH1, you know, it's not like a small network that you can kind of force your hand on it and say, no, you're going to pay me and I am also going to do whatever I want. It doesn't work like that. Paula, Olivia deserved the top 3 along with Gottmik. That's an unpopular opinion. I didn't think Gottmik deserved the top 3. I hated her dress, if we are counting the dresses. Olivia, I don't know, because I still have a doubt. We didn't see anything of her filming, so I don't know what was going on there. Tai, such a weird, undiscussed thing. Maybe they are saving it for if they have the two go against each other. Oh, you're talking about Lala and Tamisha. Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. Nightmare says, Lala's edit social media reminds me of Peppermint when season 9 aired. So I think she could still make a long run in this season. Well, you know what I noticed about Lala? They finished last episode with Lala saying, oh, I'm starting to fade in the background. I have to bring the big guns. And then in this episode, her big guns is ending up in the bottom 3. So it's not a good look. It's not a good look. Diogo says, I was kind of disappointed with Gottmik look this week. But the look wasn't even for the category that Gottmik used. I was disappointed as well. I was expecting a little bit more. It's not that I didn't like the dress, because I liked it, but when you compare it to everything else that was on the runway, it looks like underdeveloped. Luis Felipe, how many ostriches had to die for Denali to make her runway looks? She looked incredible, didn't she? She looked incredible. I absolutely loved her runway. I would say that it was my favorite. It looked stunning, absolutely stunning, and it was such a concept for a train. It was. I loved it. I really loved everything about it. Gothboy UK says, Drag Race UK is as clear as polished glass when it comes to manipulation. Well, that's a good thing, because if it is, people are going to notice. It might not be the best entertainment that it could be, but it's, in a way, it's educational, so it's a good thing. Paula says, Gottmik posted another look on her Instagram from trains, and it was much better. I saw it, but I didn't see it on Instagram. I saw it on Twitter. It was much better. It was much better. I completely agree on that. Fantasia says the editor Molly Shock said maybe the Tamisha and Lala storyline didn't pay off. Ooh. Do you know how many possible storylines they had before they decided, oh yes, we're going to do this and this and this storylines? And I'm still convinced that halfway through the whole thing, they did a 180 and start changing things off. Because this season is really, really off. It's really, really strange this season. You know, I kept thinking, okay, maybe they had too much work. Okay, maybe VH1 started bugging the shit out of them halfway through editing. But it's really strange this season. And I hope something like this happened. Because if all that we are seeing was done completely on purpose for shock value, then it means that the beginning of the end for RuPaul's Drag Race is really, really close. Because the moment you start going for shock value, it's never enough. It's never going to be enough. To the point where the whole show becomes a joke. So we'll have to see about that. We'll have to see until season 14 comes along to actually get an idea of the longevity of the show. Ty Hill, maybe that will be the theme this season. Lip syncing against someone you know, and then we'll be tired of it by Rosè versus Tina. My God, of course. Now that you say it, of course they're going to do Rosè versus Tina. You know, you have the New York girls. They already did Rosè versus Olivia. Next time she's going to go versus Tina. But they have a little bit of beef, so it's not really friends against each other. You know, you have more Tina and Candy. The whole episode was about their friendship coming out. So maybe it's going to be Candy and Tina at some point. Blake, did anyone else notice Michelle ask Kamora if she was related to Jada in her Watch Your Packing again? You watch Your Packing? I respect you. You have my respect. You have my respect. Paula, I didn't see Jada support Kamora at all, although it's supposed to be her sister. Oh, wait a moment. Oh yes, Jada was in that show with Trixie. Trixie, my partner, was watching it today. Iron guts, if you ask me. Not because of Jada. Jada is fantastic, and not because of Trixie. But you know, whatever comes out from World of Wonder is, I don't like it. I don't like it. Diogo, how many weeds Utica used to make her runway look? We never know. Her runway look to me screamed curtains, you know? It screamed curtains. I liked it. It was very crafty, which is a good thing. Oh, David Wilson, yes. The pit stop. The pit stop with Trixie, yes. Beatrice, Gottmik and Candy changed their look for this runway. Gottmik had a similar one to Tina, and Candy said she had a very long train, but she felt she couldn't walk the runway with that. Oh, that's curious. I mean, we saw in the episode that she was shifting things around, but I don't think I catch the reason why she was changing things around. Sasha, this season is gonna have probably 16 episodes, and I'm already tired. Oh my God, 16 episodes? Well, that would explain why it's been so difficult. But a 16 episode, you have all the time to craft storylines, you know? Blake, let's be real. The only reason Ru asked Utica if she smoked weed is because she was coming down from her bus. And she's like, do you smoke weed? Do you have some? Fantasia, I'm helping. Let the kids out of timeout. I don't decide that. I don't. This chat from YouTube. It has the moderation tool for this chat is absolutely nothing. The only option that I have is put on timeout. I cannot even decide when, how. It's like a 5-minute thing and then it goes out. That's it's not muted. It's like a 5-minute thing. So I'm going to get used to it. So I'm sorry if I fucked up a little bit. Where am I? Oh, chat skipped again. Fantastic. Sasha, do you think they're trying to pull a Gen W Rosè? But as you said before, they didn't manage to do it with Rosè. What do you mean a Gen W? A Gen with Rosè. Well, the problem with Jen in last season is that she was the narrator. And the narrator never goes to the top because it's not really a character. It's someone who is there to kind of as a glue that holds everything together, that tells you a story. Is not really a character that you are supposed to get attached to for some reason, you know? At least judging the history of Drag Race. I don't think they're doing the same thing with Rosè at all. At all. First of all, because Rosè has been, despite the triggering and everything else, Rosè is doing very well. So, and that's different from Jen. Jen didn't really rise last season at all. She was always somehow middle of the pack until they sent her home. Felicia said the formula they are now using makes it easy to predict who will be at the top. I don't like that. Well, there's also when you start seeing things, then, you know, you kind of get the gist. Oh, okay, so this person is going to be in the top, this person is going to be in the bottom. You're starting to get a feeling for it. Because let's face it, everything is already predetermined. Oh my god, I'm becoming dyslexic. I cannot say that word. It doesn't come to my mind. They just had a stroke or something. Predetermined? Predetermined. Oh, whatever it is. You know what I mean with that. It would be fun if they really, like, they cast queens just because they decide, okay, let's pick 13 queens. Whatever it is, it is. And then they throw them in the workroom and they start throwing challenges at them. And whoever survives, survives. That is something that would really glue me up to the screen. Like 100%. Gothboy, why not mention that Kamora's drag daughter is Soju? They foreshadowed the family out first. Think with the Candy and Elliot argument in episode 2, but never used it on Kamora. Oh yes. They used it against Candy, but not on Kamora. I think they probably did, but they cut it out. Kind of felt insulting to Kamora. Dark Magic says, I really like the concept of Tina's dress. It was ill-fitting, I think. Well, you know, it's subjective. It's really subjective. I didn't like it. I didn't like the color combination. I know that it's part of Tina's brand, always having a shade of red, a shade of yellow, one way or the other, but it wasn't my thing. It wasn't my thing. Sasha says, fun fact, everyone got their call during their first episode of All Stars 5. When the first episode of All Stars 5 was airing. So, yes, not a lot of time to prepare. Do you have like a reference for that? Something that I can check out to start actually relaying it as a fact, you know? Because I was really under the impression that they had like 6-8 weeks minimum to prepare. But I can be wrong, because then again, it's like more of a rumor and a calculation that I made, but nothing more than that. But it's very little time. It's very little time. Paul Amvara says, I'm surprised none of the queens went for the real train for the train. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, wait. Gottmik's look, the one that she published on Twitter and Instagram, I think it was actually on the theme of trains. I think she was a conductor in that outfit. Lena, I actually didn't mind Tina's runway because the colors and the materials remind me of toy trains and daycare. Oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. Well, if that was the scope, she could have executed it like a little bit better, because I didn't get that at all. I mean, that now that you say it, I start getting the idea, but it wasn't so obvious to me. Paula, I think they tried to portray RuPaul as more friendly and laughing with the queens to clean his image and distract from the fracking situation. I mean, RuPaul is a dick. I mean, she has, you know what the problem is? There is no problem in being a dick. You can be funny, you can make it your persona and so on, and you can make it work. The problem is that she is also trying to push this image of the mother, the one who always knows best, you know, the one who creates a family and blah 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 and blah blah blah, and she's a businessman and everybody knows that. And every fucking time she puts feet in the workroom, it's either to stir the pot, to make people feel insecure. She's never really giving any kind of advice. I got used to the situation. When I see RuPaul in the workroom, the first thing that I think is brace for impact. You know, it doesn't put me at ease at all. Dell says, the producers have a hard-on for gay history as of late. These songs are largely gay icon greatest hits from the 70s to 100. Also, older songs are easier to get the rights to. Oh, that is true. That is true. They are less expensive. But then again, it depends on the song. It depends on the song. Because if you go for anything Whitney Houston, it's going to be expensive. No matter how old it is, it's going to be expensive. Diogo, Tina looked like a fire hydrant when I first saw the runway, and I was like, wow, that's kind of smart. But she was actually Thomas the Choo-Choo Train. Oh, you see, I don't get these references at all. Velho, ghosts dancing in a trash can. Come on, high concept cat. Oh my god, I'm so late on the chat. I'm like 20. Oh my god, I'm 20 minutes late on the chat. Lena, I live in Pittsburgh. I can walk outside and find some crumbling, rusted structure to stand and flare around like a ghost. That's perfect. That's perfect. Whatever your imagination. Wherever your imagination go, do it. We can mix it all up together and make it work somehow, you know. Because the song that I made is all about trashing the world, you know. It always goes there. You have trashing the world, you have dumping waste. You know, it's the whole concept of who gives a shit, let's just make money out of it. But we can talk about it in the Discord. Maybe brainstorm, find ideas, find what works, find what everybody is willing to do in a way, and then see where we go with it. Because apart from the chop, I'm still working on the lip sync commandment video, which I hope I will finish this week, so it can come out. I think Thursday, the 4th of February, if everything goes well, because I finished most of the editing on it. So it's going to be the commentary, then the rendering, which is going to take a ton of time. It's probably going to take 2 nights, but we're basically there. So after that, it's all about this damn song. We're going to do this song. So, but we can talk about it in the Discord. So we can also brainstorm together, and we don't lose the messages, which is the most important thing. Fantasia, I would love to hug a trash can. I need to hear this parody. I need to record it. I still haven't recorded it. Give me this week to finish that damn video, and then we're going to do this. David, are you from a Slavic country? Just curious. We don't talk about where we're from. I really push like hard on this thing. We would like to remain as anonymous as we possibly can, because people online are crazy. You know, they will take whatever you say, take it out of context. Attack you for no reason, and the consequences are real. You can really lose your livelihood just because you've been talking a little bit of shit in a live show or on a video. This is the times we're living in, and so this is what we have to do. So I'm trying to keep us as anonymous as we possibly can. Tatiana Turner, I'm wondering if the Graham Norton relationship stuff will come out on the show. If it's convenient, it will come out, but I don't think so. It would be free publicity for the BBC, and they didn't pay for it. Sasha, am I the only one who thinks they're gonna do an Elliot versus Candy storyline? Because it's like the 3rd time they have a tension moment, and I don't think it's just occasionally. No, they are going to have that moment. That's without a doubt. That's basically the only drama that they have going on for the show, because the Elliot thing lasted like 5 minutes. After that, they were all hugging and laughing and so on. So they need drama. The only question is, who is going to be the villain and who is going to be the victim? Because we've kind of seen them both in both roles. And Candy, not really a victim, but as a human. We've seen her as a human and as a bully. And Elliot we've seen as a victim and as a villain. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to do about it. Tai, you have Twitter. I have Twitter, and I'm also starting to use it. Can you believe it? I'm starting to check it every day, which is incredible. Coming from me, it's absolutely incredible. Yes, there is a link in the description if you want to follow. Blake, why did you delete it? I agree with your comment. Oh, I don't see it. It's deleted. Oh, wait a moment, the chat skipped again. Damn. Where are we? Sasha, oh shit, it skipped again. Oh my god, I hate YouTube's chat. I really hate it. Lena Clark, Predetermined, predestined, thank you. Thank you. Even though I'm reading this like 20 minutes after, thank you. You know, sometimes I think it's the time of the night. You know, the last days I've been sleeping like 6-7 hours, which is not good for me. I need my 8 hours, but it's been going on for a long time, for a couple of weeks. Because I'm not used to have to work so much for the channel. So I'm basically destroyed 100% of the time. It's not that I don't like it, that I don't like doing it, you know. Staying here on Livestream is actually my favorite part of all. And I also like when I finish a video and I just have to watch it and enjoy it and find what works, what doesn't. Those are the most enjoyable part for me. But it's and I'm also getting used to the workload, but you know, I'm still pretty destroyed. David Wilson says Simone will probably win. Judging by the edit and taking into account everything that we've seen going around the show, for me it's going to be either Simone or Gottmik, and probably I would say Gottmik. Velho, prior decided is something that I said, isn't it? You're making fun of me, you bitch. Luis Felipe, not RuPaul being so old that she no longer goes walk on the Queen's table to talk about the challenge. Now they have to go where she's standing. Yeah, I mean, it was so... Oh my god. My god. It's like a classroom. Come on, kids, come to the table. Mama has to talk. Paula, I think Simone is definitely going for the crown. Yeah, she has a very good shot at it. But you know what happens. You know what happens. They always try to keep their foot in different pairs of shoes. So it will depend on what goes around. How the way they relate to the fans on social media, if they fuck it up on social media, the way people respond to the characters. I mean, the formula works. It absolutely works because you have your top 4 and then you have all the time to think who can best represent your brand. So, you know, you cannot see who is going to win until you see who is going to win. But you can make some good speculations on who has the best chances in a way. Vitriol Vic says she's got the I'm gonna win attitude and it's not aggressive at all. Oh yeah, she knows that she's good. Simone knows that she is good. And I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, it's not like she's putting in people's faces like, oh, I am so good, I'm going to fuck you over. I'm going to, you know, dig a grave on the ground for you and so on. She's more joking about it, you know. When they started the episode and RuPaul said, okay, now people are going to go home. You have this shot of Simone going like, okay, bye girls, it's been nice. Fantasia, they don't want to associate Soju this week. Well, that's good thinking, but I don't think 2 days is enough to re-edit something out. It's absolutely not enough time. If you remember what happened with Redacted last year, in episode 1, even though all that shit that went down like 4 days before the premiere, they still didn't have time to edit out all of her confessionals. We saw them on episode 1. It started from episode 3. Diogo says Simone is the first to win 3 different things in a row. Like 1 week she won the lip sync, 2 weeks she won the top 2 lip sync, and 4 weeks she won the episode. Oh yes, she has an excellent track record. Paula, do you know about the Elliot controversy? What do you mean the Elliot controversy? I know about the Soju one. Insulin-dependent Shank says, Tina's dress was a boot, and the reason why Gottmik wore what she wore? And the reason why Gottmik wore what she wore. Can you elaborate on that? Because, oh, you mean because they were both train-inspired? Oh, yes, okay, I get it. I get it. Paula, the aggressive thing. No, I don't. What's the aggressive thing? Tatiana Turner, black girl magic, but not being aggressive. You mean Simone? Am I stroking? I'm starting to get... I need another energy drink. I need a little bit of a boost. Luis Felipe, for a queen who went home this episode, we didn't have a lot of humanizing confessionals from Kamora during the episode. Yeah, Kamora completely disappeared. Kamora disappeared from this week's confessionals. I mean, I can pull up the chart for a moment again and take a look at Kamora's confessional. She has 3 confessionals for a total time of 22 seconds, I believe. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's absolutely zero. It's like they already had this episode with these confessionals inside and realized, oh, wait a moment, she doesn't have a humanizing moment. We need to refilm something. Okay, what do? Do we re-edit this episode so that she has more time for her confessional? Oh, no. Let's put them back in the episode before. Otherwise, it would have been obvious that she was going home, probably, if they did it for this episode. Sasha, Candy said on her live multiple times about the call being during the first episodes of All Stars 5, and other queens casually mentioned the same thing, so I can try to find her whole lives to show you. That would be really nice. I would really appreciate it. It's not that I don't believe you, but if people ask me for a reference in the future, at least they have, okay, it's here. You can go here, because I say a ton of things and I encourage people in seeing things firsthand. So if you have a link, it would be really nice, but don't get crazy about it. It's, you know. Velho, for the train runway, I would have had a gorgeous gown, and when I turn on the runway, there are multiple toy trains dragging behind me as my train. That's cute. Tina, on the challenge you managed to boss around your teammates, but on the runway where train got derailed, you are safe. My god, sometimes their comments are so stupid and so cheesy. I cannot stop thinking, what would Bianca Del Rio say if she was ever to be a judge? I honestly think I would live for everything. Felicia, that's a good deduction. I would think Tamisha and Lalaurie storyline would have been right out of the gate. How about Tina versus Candy? I might have missed something when the chat skipped. Sasha, is there any chance of the Gigi's edit video actually coming out? I'm not asking to be shady. By the way, I know you are busy. I'm just curious about... Don't worry, Sasha, don't worry. You know what's my attitude about these streams. Asking is for free. Receiving an answer, maybe we'll see. You see what the problem is with the Gigi video is one of those projects that's been in the work for so long that I'm starting to get nauseated by it. And the problem is that the script was there, all the materials were there. I did the voiceover once, then I did it twice, and then we completely changed our minds. And thinking, okay, this doesn't work like this. We could make it a commentary video. Why not try to make it a documentary and edit it as a documentary? And it's an intriguing idea. It's something new. It's something that I wanted to try. So we went that way. And so my partner started rewriting the script again. And it got midway, and then it never finished. And then we realized, wait a moment, YouTube is sagging our channel. So we invested something like 50 hours on this video already, and it's going to be twice that amount of time to finish it and continue. Am I sure that if I put out something that for me is high quality, YouTube is not going to sag it again? So it's in stasis. It's in stasis, which is a pity because basically all of the material is there, but it's in stasis. I don't know where I'm going to take it out again, but seeing the way things are going, I would say see you next summer with it, until we are done with the current seasons of Drag Race. But we'll see. We'll see the time that I have. We'll see how much I feel about working on it. But the point is, you know that I don't work on one thing at a time. I work at different things. I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that because I get tired very easily. I need to change things around. But that video I didn't touch at all, like at all. So I would like it to come out, if anything, not to lose all the work that's been done with under it, and also because there is a very good story behind it. So I would like it to come out, but then the point is, if I never find the motivation to work on it, then it's, you know, like Fantasia always jokes about it. Yeah, the Gigi video, but she's right, because it's been in the air for 1 year already. In 2 months, it's going to be 1 year since I first started writing a script for that video. I mean, considering our videos, it's kind of normal because it's all of my videos are like that. But, you know. Paula, Soju's abuse allegation came out a few days ago. I don't. Oh yes, I read those. I read those, and I actually did a little bit of research to find out what was going on around it. So I know of the allegations. I talked about them on the Discord because I think that this kind of things should be shared, especially when you have people coming out with their name, with their face, with their personal accounts. It starts to become something that, you know, it's not just a stupid rumor. It starts to become a serious allegation. Still an allegation, but not a rumor. Sasha, I would love the two possible villains to actually lip sync together. Oh, it's never going to happen. Why would you waste two villains? Why would you waste two villains? Oh my god, the chat skipped again. I hate you. Oh, YouTube, I hate it. Where was I? Oh, here I go. Spyros, I was hoping you'll say, bitch, I'm from Chicago. Paula, she also posted a kind of apology on her... Do you guys want to talk about this? Because if you want to talk about this, we can talk about this. But I need to have a cigarette before. Because I cannot talk about something like this out of my mind. I need a moment to compose myself. Syria, she turned the comment off. Oh, that's the same thing. Dixie, Candy, the Candy Elliott attack came out of nowhere. Insulin dependent skank says, wow, these rumors have been around for a minute about her though. Oh, that's still that. Let me jump. Sorry guys, let me jump to the end of the chat and see. and see what's going on in real time, because you guys, I can read you in real time. Apparently my computer can hold it, so we have like a 10-second time difference, which is incredible. Where are we? No, my God, this fucking chat. I hate it so much. Blake, speaking of redacted, I heard somewhere there was originally a Gigi versus redacted storyline since they kept winning back to back. Also, she was apparently the narrator of the season. My God, I cannot imagine something like that. I cannot really imagine it. Dixie, I'm stroking too. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Syria, Elliot said that Simone was black girl magic, but not in an aggressive way. On a podcast, she also said how come people could have pronounced her name when they can pronounce names like Iman, etc. I don't think I'm getting it. She said Simone was black girl magic, but not in an aggressive... Oh, fuck. I get it. She was being passive-aggressive toward the vixen, because she has a show called Black Girl Magic. That's a passive-aggressive thing to say. You know, that's the book definition of passive-aggressiveness. No, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. You don't say something like that by chance. You need to think about it. It's not like something that slips out of your mouth and you say, oh no, wait a moment, this thing came out of my mind, I take it back for a moment. That's a passive attack right there. Well, that's not a good look. Paula says, Elliot was reviewing the last week episode and she said something along the lines, yes, she gives me black girl magic, but it doesn't come off in an aggressive way. Oh, shit. Oh, and Paula continues, later she apologized on Twitter. Yeah, I get all this thing that you apologize on Twitter. You know, how can you be so... How can I say, not disingenuous, what's the word? How can you be so oblivious of the whole thing? I mean, you are being passive-aggressive in a way that it makes me suspect that, I mean, when I see a certain level of sophistication in your being passive-aggressive, I cannot believe that it's just something that comes out of you, you know? I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and thinking, okay, you are not a shitty person. It's just that for some reason you have your things going on, you come out with it, you apologize immediately. You don't wait until later. People are going to drag you. Paula, the POC community was very offended. Of course it was. I mean, if she has any kind of problems with the vixen, she is welcome to solve them privately. Not doing this kind of things where you disguise an attack as a compliment to someone else. I mean, we are tired of this kind of shit. You know, we have actually reached a point in which we start to appreciate people directly insulting each other rather than going on with this kind of things all of the time. Syria, I think the lines the judges say are cheesy because they are fed puns through earpieces by their producers. I don't think they come out with anything that they say by themselves. It's all they have like a team of 20 people. Oh my God, what are we going to say? Oh, it needs to be something clever. Come on. Dixie, I'm surprised Utica didn't use the train reference. Yeah, that's something that Utica would do. I'd see it. She's weird in that way, but in a good way. In a good way. She gave me terrible vibes in the beginning, but she's really self-conscious about her character, which is something that I appreciate. Ty says, anyone in the top 4 can win in my eyes because they made it there. It shouldn't matter how many wins or how many times they lip sync, they made it. I would like to see people win because they deserve it, not because they've been pushed. You know, we had Gigi last season that was pushed so hard at the expense of everyone. It was just so hard to watch. You know, for a moment I want to have the illusion and, you know, having a top 4 and say, oh yes, they all deserved it. They all proved themselves one way or the other, and it was absolutely deserved. It would be refreshing for once. David says, I'm glad Priyanka won, even though she had to lip sync for her life more than once. That's something really similar to what Drag Race used to do in the earlier seasons. You would see people get in the top who had to lip sync even more than once. Remember Raven, for example. Which it would be refreshing at this point. Wait a moment, the chat skipped again. This is unbelievable. Dixie, by the way, bear with me on Discord. I'm just getting used to it and feel like I'm stumbling around. No worries, no worries. If you need help, just write. You know, I'm not used to use it as well. When we were moving into the live part of the Discord, I didn't know how to use it as well. Actually, Fantasia helped me. So, Goth Boy UK says, I'd rather not talk about non-show drama this early of a Monday morning, but I can always easily change the channel if you want. Ty Hill, 10 seconds? That's insane. Sasha, I don't think we should talk about the soju thing. CT says, Elias said the black girl magic, but less aggressive about Simone, not the vixen. She was reviewing the latest episode of her, and aggressive is a very racially... Yeah, but Black Girl Magic is a show that the Vixen has. You know? Or maybe I'm losing. If I'm losing something, correct me in the chat, because I'm a little bit disconnected about this thing. The Vixen has this digital show called Black Girl Magic. That's that's how I heard it. So to me, it looks like she's shading the Vixen while making it look like she's complimenting Simone. But correct me if I'm wrong. Keep me up to date on that. Sasha, it's not about the Vixen. She's indirectly saying that black people are aggressive. Fuck. You know, that's not a nice thing to say. And is especially not nice in the times we're living in. My God. Elliot did apologize on Twitter, and I think it was pretty okay apology in terms of taking responsibility and being accountable. I didn't follow this thing, so I don't know. Ty says, honestly, Gigi winning would have been the nail in the coffin for me because she wasn't given anything but praise. Oh my God, the next level comment. What did you remind me of? My God. it was during a runway for Gigi, and they went like, "Oh, she's so beautiful, so gorgeous, next level." My God. Paula, very unfortunate comment to say. I don't want to think it was malice. Well, it looks like I completely misinterpreted what it was about, so probably I am the last person you should ask an opinion for. Fantasia, here is a question. Here is a question. Who enjoyed the return of Jeffrey Boyer Chapman? Loved it. I hated it. I saw a compilation of him being a dick on Canada's Drag Race, and I hated it. Velho, damn, the chat is skipping more than me on YouTube commercials when I'm trying to watch something good. You know what's the problem with this chat? That I get like 10 comments per I can visualize 10 comments. If I want to see more, I have to scroll down. The problem is the moment I scroll down, the chat automatically brings me to the latest comment. So I had to scroll back up and try to find out where I was, which is really, really annoying. It's really annoying. I mean, if I'm scrolling down, don't push the chat automatically to the latest comment. I know how to continue to scroll down to go to the latest comments. And it's continuous. It's so annoying. I mean, it's like YouTube telling me you have to always stay on the last comment. You're not welcome to go back and read whatever came before. It's really annoying. Paula, in the apology, she cleared out that the look itself wasn't coming off as too much. Oh, that she meant it's too much. Well, I don't know. Sasha, I really wasn't expecting for Jeffrey to be back anytime soon after Canada's Drag Race. Me neither. I would have expected them to kind of swoop it under the carpet, you know? Just leave it there, ignore the whole thing, let him disappear for a little while, and then come back when everybody forgot about it. That's what I was expecting. Now that they showed him again, people are going to remember again that he was kind of a dick on Canada's Drag Race. Syria, speaking of commercials, I loved Heidi's Olay body wash one. We all deserve to be soft and supple. Commercial challenges are the ones that I love the most. They are so funny. Fantasia, black girl is a thing in the USA for black women empowerment. You mean black girl magic? But honestly, I heard it from the Vixen first. Well, you know, I'm not from the US. I heard it from the Vixen as well. That's where I know it from. That's why I thought it was referred to the Vixen. Ty Hill, she's using black girl magic in a patronizing way. It's like a saying, but she's kind of demonizing it. Well, let's not try to see too much on a small well, I didn't see this thing, so I cannot really comment on it. But, you know, I'm kind of allergic whenever I see one phrase taken there and then people, you know, going hard on it. And I don't know if this is what's happening or if there is more going around it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? If people are going to make a fool of themselves, then let them make a fool of themselves. It's their thing. The world is full of stupid people. Doesn't mean that we have to spend all of our time talking about them. Robin said, she's saying Simone is special, but only in an aggressive way, as if black people are aggressive. Yeah, I got it. CT says, I liked Jeffrey Boyer Chapman. I think it was cute and funny on the latest episode. He got a lot of unwarranted hate from Canada's Drag Race, when Brooklyn also said some very similar comments but got no hate. Yeah, I shouldn't really comment on this because I didn't see Canada's Drag Race. So I'm really talking based on what other people showed me of the whole thing. But I was getting that the general vibe was that it was being kind of a dick. Ty says, JBC was, I mean, let's give some of the pit crew members some lines. Well, he is cute. I'm not denying that. He is really cute. That, you know, the moment you start getting a little bit older, the cuter someone is, the worse you are going to perceive him once he opens his mouth to say bullshit. That's a huge problem. CT, Vixen has a show called Black Girl Magic. Yes, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. Oh, but the phrase Black Girl Magic has been a thing to say about awesome black girls for a long time. Another one is Black Excellence. Oh, it's like not an idiom. What's the word? A slogan? But I know what you mean. I got what you mean. I got what you mean. Insulin says JBC needs to figure out if he wants to judge Drag Race or take acting roles for it. Oh, come on. He can do both. But then again, I don't know. I should stop talking about this until I've seen things firsthand. It's not a good example to give about talking about things that you don't know. Although it's still a nice thing to do. I mean, it's so... Who doesn't like it? Spyros, it's like the chat is Milk and we are Kennedy. Fuck my drag, right? Ty Hill, the pit crew members don't even get shoes, let alone lines. They're eye candy. That's why they're there. Paula says, I think Jeffrey is a bit demonized too. I think it was rude and he said nasty things, but so did Brooklyn and it didn't got any hate. Yeah, you see what the difference is. That Brooklyn is a drag queen, a celebrated drag queen. So it kind of feels like it goes a little bit with the flow. It's not that you can go away with saying whatever you want, but you know, it's more, it feels like in a way Brooklyn has as a background to give you feedback. And of course she can be rude in giving a specific feedback, but you know, she kind of paid her dues. You know, it's her job, it's her career. But JBC, what does he know about drag? That's the critique that I saw raised against him more often. What does he know? Fantasia, after people drag them for all the time, they have to get used to seeing him. Michelle has been a butt for years and they gave her a better edit. Was she? I always thought that Santino was really, you know, the hard one. I will never forget when she, oh my God. In season 2, he called Pandora Box a coke whore. She had like, he didn't like a look that she made, and he said something like, if you're going to go for a coke whore look, then go all the way, or something like that. I mean, it could be really nasty, like really nasty. But you know, at least he was supposed to be knowledgeable about style and looks. He was in this competition, reality TV competition, where he was basically a stylist. So in a way you could see, well, okay, maybe he knows what he's talking about. Syria, the only person that was probably worse than Michelle, oh, was Santino, yes. You see, I'm not the only one. Yeah, Santino was awful. He was like really awful. Gothboy says, it's time for me to try and get some sleep. It was a great stream and I really hope I can make it next time. Good night, everyone. Good to see you next time. See you next time. Oh, you're probably gone already. It's been 5 minutes. But Lena, I've always been torn on Michelle because on one hand, she does much of the same bullshit that Ru does, but she actually does things like touring with the queens and keep in touch with them, and the Ru girls love her. Yeah, that's true. That's true. She goes on tour with them. She has a relationship with them. You have a lot of queens who talked outside of Drag Race praising Michelle for being human, basically human to them. But yeah, on the show, she's a complete bitch. But you also have to understand, the show is the paycheck. They have to do what they have to do to go along with the flow, you know? I honestly think that even if RuPaul himself came out tomorrow and said something like, listen, I don't want to do this for this episode, I want to actually give them advice, you know, all the other senior producer would come out and say, no, you cannot do that. You are supposed to make this person feel a little bit uncomfortable, push this person up and try to stir the pot a little bit. I'm not so sure that Ru would have the liberty to do whatever they want if she wanted, because at this point the show has become so big that you cannot afford to kind of lose control over certain things, if you know what I mean. Spyros, oh my god, years later, and I also remember that comment, the Pandora box one. How can you forget that? How can you it was so unwarranted. It was so unwarranted. Ty Hill, yeah, it's weird that JBC would go for the Santino style of judging instead of a Ross or Carlson. It could have been nicer, and that's on him. I don't know if that's really on him, because you never know if they really say what they say because they want to say it, or that's because the producers say that they have to say it, you know, from their earpiece. Because I'm starting to believe that the judges are, you know, almost like the face without being the mind of the whole thing, if you know what I mean. They just physically occupy a spot, and then you have a group of producers behind it that suggest the things that they should actually say, you know? With the whole thing, for example, when they have the lip sync, then they finish, they stop everything, and then go away for like 15-20 minutes to discuss who is going to win, who is going to lose. It's like they are deciding what they can edit, and so that's it. So well, it's TV. What can you expect? Dixie says, Wow TV had a series with a few of the pit crew. They had lines. Sorry, nothing special. Fantasia, someone had to be the jerk, and JBC was the actor of the bunch. Unfortunately, people didn't care for it. Yeah, that's possible, but still is going to reflect on your person, you know? That's the job you have signed for. Syria, what made me appreciate Michelle more was when Roxy talked about her mother abandoning her, then finding out that Michelle was adopted. She might have had similar sentiments to her birth parents. I didn't know Michelle was adopted at all. Paula, I enjoyed Canada's Drag Race. They had very fun personalities. If you've been thinking about it, there is a sign. If you have been thinking about it, this is a sign. Oh, yes. I always think, oh, I'm going to watch it, and then I never really have time to watch it. Like ever. You know, I've been wanting to read a book since last summer. I haven't read it. I haven't even bought it. That's how the timing is going. I don't know if it's going to continue like this. I mean, when we are in season, it's really extreme. It's really, really extreme. But you never know. You never know. Maybe next year we become so successful that I could afford to pay someone to do the editing. I mean, dreaming is free, so why not dream a little bit? Luna, I didn't get a notification. Sorry. Yeah, I know. CT says, I love Canada's Drag Race too. Lots of good lip syncs, lots of fun personality. It's very fresh compared to the American Drag Race. I saw the first episode and I thought the exact same thing, that it felt like a breath of fresh air. A little bit more amateur, if you know what I mean. You know, a little bit less strict with all this editing and storylines and so on and so forth. That was my first impression, but I watched only episode 1. Lena says, Michelle also has decades of history with drag. She walked in the face category in New York City balls in the 90s. Cesar Valentino is her drag father. I didn't know all of these things. You guys are way more knowledgeable than I am. Ty, you're right. I shouldn't judge him, but it's not smart to agree for his future. Who's to say if the fans will forgive him? Well, we don't know how much they paid him. Maybe, you know. And you also have to think about this. Drag Race is extremely successful. What if you are booked as a judge in a show that could potentially go on for 10 seasons and you will get a raise every X amount of years? You know, that's a good job position when you think about it. That's a smart decision, you know, because you know that for X amount of years you will have a check. Well, as an actor, you never know if you're going to get jobs, good paying jobs, jobs that can help with your career, jobs that will be interesting to take on. You know, Drag Race offers a kind of security. So I can understand why you would make such a decision. Nora says, on the podcast, it seems like Michelle has a great relationship with her daughters and gives good advice to the listeners as well. And I think things like that tell much more about her than the show. Well, the show kind of makes her look like a bitch. You know, especially lately. She continuously have to give out this critique that makes absolutely no sense 95% of the time. None of the critique make any sense because they have to, they really have a storyboard and they have to adhere to it. So Sometimes something is next level of fashion, and some other times it's crafty. And that's what they have to do. Yes, I agree, it's not a good look. But then again, if you know these people outside of Drag Race, I do believe that Michelle is not like a shitty person. RuPaul, I'm not convinced. I mean, I'm not convinced that she actually has a redemption outside of Drag Race. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, there used to be videos of Michelle going on tour. You know, I saw videos years and years ago when she was on a bus with Detox and Willem, and you know, and they were like really having fun. CD says, I think some of the JBC hate was also because the fans thought he targeted fan favorite Queen Jimbo with mean comments. Well, that's not to say that she was actually targeted by mean comments, you know, as part of her edit. So the point is, how much of those comments came from him and how much came from the producer's room? That's the question people should ask themselves. Luna, I haven't even bought it. Yes, I haven't even bought it. Can you believe it? I was actually thinking of getting it as an audiobook, but it's not the same thing. You know, an audiobook is not the same thing. There is a certain pleasure in reading a book. Find a comfortable place on the sofa, find a comfortable place on the bed, setting a good lighting, maybe smoke a cigarette, but I cannot smoke in the house, so maybe vape a little bit, and you just sit there in silence and let your imagination go and listen to your own voice in your head. And there is something that reading a book gives you that listening to an audiobook doesn't. It's like an hypnotic thing for me. And it's been like a year since I read a book. You know, I'm never used to be an avid reader, but I cannot really go a month without reading something. It's like it's like, I don't know, when you are used to go out for dinner once a month, and then suddenly you don't do it anymore. Fantasia said they're going to make us love JVC again. It's going to be on everything, and we're just going to forget it. Or you can just start watching Drag Race that way when it comes back to it. I don't think it was a smart move to bring him back for RuPaul's Drag Race. You gotta give people time to forget, because that's true. People forget. You know, at the end of the day, all of these things, they don't really matter. So, you know, they're angry at him today. Give them time to forget. They won't even remember what the fuss was about. CD says, I didn't get a notification for the stream either. So I have a weekly calendar that reminds me to join the shop. My God, this thing with the notification is crazy. You know, and despite that, I still get like a statistic from YouTube saying, oh, we sent out 99% of notification. Okay, and then I'm thinking, okay, I believe you that you sent them. Were they received? Because YouTube doesn't really answer that question. So, yeah, it's aggravating. It's really aggravating. Syria, I hated Pandora's edit when she was paired with Mimi on All Stars 1. Well, All Stars 1 did Pandora a huge... what's the word? It fucked Pandora a lot. You know, she was basically heartbroken that her second chance was being paired with someone who was really, let's face it, was really despised by the fandom at the time. It's like they trashed their second chance, you know, and the edit made it look like she was villainizing Mimi. So since that happened, Pandora's career took a hit, and it looked like she never really recovered from that. I think she was one of the very first queens who used to be very loved and then came back from All Stars and got completely fucked up by the kind of edit that they decided to give to her. Much like they did with Latrice. Much like they did with other queens before. They tried it with Alaska as well. You know, it's like the new thing. Whenever All Stars come around, you take a fan favorite and make them look like shit. Blake says, people keep saying Olivia shouldn't have been in the top. Her RuPaul was spot on. Well, I'm not saying she shouldn't have been in the top. I'm just not so sure because I didn't see her. I didn't see what she was doing while filming. That's the problem. I'm not sure she was so flawless. Let's say it like this. Toasty Rodri says, I loved everything about Canada's Drag Race too, minus the judging and some critiques. Luna, I thought Olivia was safe. I didn't even notice her in the challenge and did not find her delivery funny or over the top, but they edited some laughs on her lines. Well, that they do with everybody. You know, I think they have generic RuPaul laugh, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and then they play them whenever, you know. I wasn't living for her delivery. It wasn't bad, but I wasn't living for it. Syria, I think JBC got a lot of hate because many people saw his critique as borderline attacking a queen's drag style. Yes, that was the same impression that I got. I cannot remember the title of the video that I watched, but that was, I felt the same way. Looking back, I remember feeling the exactly same way. They felt like personal attacks, not critiques. Syria, Olivia's character was old Ru, and Ru is old. Yes, she is. And she is. Blake, I'm saying RuPaul's a dying old woman in a chair, and Olivia played her to a T. RuPaul. Does anybody like RuPaul anymore? Do you know anyone who genuinely likes RuPaul? That's an honest question. That's a serious question. I'm really interested if you know anyone who genuinely likes RuPaul. City says, I read somewhere that JBC filmed this season 13 lines before or during the airing of Canada's Drag Race. So when they filmed it, they didn't know people were going to hate him on the Canada one. Well, everything is under green screen, so I don't doubt that that's a possibility. You can always patch the two things together, make them look as if he was actually there when maybe you had someone else delivering his lines in his in his place and wearing, you know, a green suit. Luna says 9%? That's crazy. What's 9%? Oh, you meant the notification set? No, I meant, did I say 9%? I meant like 99%. Sorry. 99% sent. But then I get people coming and saying, I never get notifications from you. I enabled everything. Ringed 45 different bells. They still don't come. You know, the two things don't really match up. CT, All Stars 1 did Pandora a huge disservice. That's the word, disservice. Thank you. Yes, completely agree. Blake, do you guys do cast spoilers or do I just avoid spoilers for the competition? No spoilers, please, at all, of any kind. What we do is talk about what happens behind the scenes. So leaks, for example. For example, X Queen came out and said, oh, this didn't really happen. Or we did this, we had this whole thing going for us this episode and they showed nothing of it. Or I don't know, last year there was this leak that it was a rumor/leak that Gigi filmed her video for the finale in a studio. We do things like that. Spoilers that you like come and say, oh, this queen is going on tomorrow, or this queen is I don't know, casting spoilers. I don't know. Do you guys have any problems with it? For me, it's not that much of a problem because I'm not going to check out those queens anyway. I want to have like a clean slate whenever the season starts. Otherwise, I start getting favorite ones. I start thinking, oh my God, this one is so sickening. She's definitely going to be in the top. And I keep staying in that mindset and it kind of blinds me. I don't care about casting spoilers. If you have reliables one that say, oh, this queen is going to be, but during the season, no, absolutely no, please. It really ruins the kind of the fun, the digging, I mean, it's not the end of the world if we do get spoiled, but it's better if it doesn't happen. Beatrice, season 13 was filmed with Canada Drag Race was herring. Oh yes, in summer. CT, we don't do cast spoilers in here. Okay, so CT gave you the answer, the official answer. We don't do cast spoilers. Ty says, time to exercise and stretch. You all have yourself a wonderful night and sleep well. Thank you, Ty. See you next time. Syria, am I the only one that thinks Miss Congeniality of their original season has more to prove on All Stars compared to those who made top 3? More to prove. Well, it depends. It depends because Miss Congeniality used to be fan favorite. So yes, fan favorite, yes. Miss Congeniality, not necessarily. David Wilson, the cast on Canada's Drag Race would read Brooklyn for filth during the show. Imagine the queens doing that to RuPaul. Oh my God. They would get a kick in the ass immediately. Like immediately. Paula says, good night. I enjoyed the streaming. I'll be joining you on Discord and connected to your live stream. Thank you so much, Paula. See you next time. CD, remember the season 4 wrestling challenge? Literally people in wigs fighting. Oh yes, that was really good. That was fun. That was fun. That was stupid. That was unexpected. Why can't we have things like those anymore? Blake, at this point, the chop is an essential part of the Drag Race experience. It's like Untucked 2.0. You know, you watch the show, you watch the Untucked, and then you come and watch what we have to say about all of that. Well, I like to think that we add a little bit. You know, the net is full of review of RuPaul's Drag Race. Everybody does them, and they all do the same thing. So I hope that we bring something different to the table, something new in that matter, something that can be entertaining in kind of a unique way. So Fantasia, good night everyone. Good night, Fantasia. I think it's almost time that I go to sleep as well. I feel really destroyed today. I know we usually stay 1 more hour, but I don't know if you heard it, but I'm basically reading and sleeping. That's how I feel today. So I think I'm going to quit it here and have a good night's sleep. So program, what are we going to do? I hope we have the episode coming out on Tuesday. It will be probably Wednesday. Then I would like to give you a little bit of a preview of the video that is coming out next month. And of course, we have the Discord with the parody song. So if you're interested, if you're willing to, you know, make a mockery of yourself, we are all doing it, so you're welcome to join. Other than that, it's been nice, and we'll see each other's on Discord or next week. Same place, same time, same show. So thank you so much everyone for joining, and have a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye bye guys.